I must confess, I'm a bit psychic.
Hey everybody and welcome back to What the Hell Happened to Them? Jack Attacks the Cast. That's right, this season, Jack Nicholson. I'm your host, Patrick Skeyhill, and joining me on the line is a guy with ESPN, Joe Vekeman.
Well, I don't.
Oh, you don't?
Sorry.
Are you too good for cable?
No, cable's too expensive. It's the rich-blooded man. I am not.
That's how you know you've made it, when you can afford cable. You're like, the American dream.
I feel like cable's for suckers, right?
My grandparents came to this country hoping one day that their family could have cable. This was their dream.
Wow.
There's no cable in the old country, but they said, by God, my children will have cable.
That feels like a burden to put on your children.
Yeah.
It's very expensive.
Right, fine.
I pay about like $40 in streaming services.
Well, they didn't know at the time, Joe. They were coming here in the olden days. They had to go through Ellis Island.
Oh.
And they said, oh, yes, we are the Vekeman Burgmeisters. And they said, all right, well, now you're the Vekemans. We are the Vekeman Wells. And they go, nope, you're the Vekemans now.
Oh, this is really
we're the
awkward.
Vekmangionis. No.
I guess we
Vekemans.
haven't had this conversation before. My last name is supposed to be something else, but it's weird. It's a conversation for another time.
And on the audio boards is Levin Rensselaer reminding me to remind you that you can email the cast at whathappenedtothemcast@gmail.com. And our sponsor this week is Peter Pipeser, specializing in the feminine-minded toilet. Call up Peter Pipeser today. I don't know if I like that name, but...
Yeah, it's okay.
It's vaguely sexual, but that's fine. Joe, what movie are we doing this week?
This week we watched 1970s On a Clear Day You Can See Forever.
Yeah, this was a tough one, because I kept searching for it on Amazon, and I'd be like, you can see forever. You can see forever. Why aren't you showing up? And then I go back to the phone or text message.
On a clear day.
Oh, it's not you can see forever on a clear day. It's on a clear day. The syntax was all out of whack. And Amazon was just like, we don't know what the hell you're talking about. And I go, I had most of the words. I just didn't have them where you wanted. Why are you being an asshole to me, Amazon?
That's weird.
What happens in this aggressively long-titled movie?
What happens on this aggressively long-titled movie? A troubled young woman who visits a psychotherapist, right? Is that how you say that?
Psychotherapist?
That's it, right?
That's a word.
There's no other way to say that, right?
Psychotherapist?
Yeah, I was like, what kind of word soup is that? A troubled young woman who visits a psychotherapist to help her quit smoking undergoes hypnosis and finds herself reliving a tragic Victorian romance from a past life.
Yeah, let me tell you, a lot of this movie I didn't see coming. I won't lie.
Oh, okay.
We see a woman dancing and like flowers start blooming, and I go, well, I don't presume this to be really happening. This might be some impressionism or something. And then we have this really long, trippy 2001 style credits, Space Odyssey, Kubrick style credits. And then it's like a slight comedy. And then all of a sudden, we got past lives and she has psychic powers. And I went, what? How did this happen?
Oh, I get it. ESPN.
Oh, yeah? Thanks for coming, Joe. And then I like that the hard-nosed skeptic of the ESP powers was a hypnotherapist. And I go, get off your high horse, guy who turns people into chickens, okay? He's like, no, this science is real. You and your ESP. So ridiculous. I'm French,
He's French and Italian. Isn't that crazy? Do you know? Okay, I wanted to talk about him right up front. So he has the way he speaks is, I feel like it's almost exactly like Mads Mikkelsen.
I don't know. He sounded pretty French to me. Is Mads
I know
Mikkelsen?
He sounds French, and I know Mads Mikkelsen is like Danish, but they have the same like the diction that comes out of their mouth, the way they say their words. It's watch anything that Mads Mikkelsen has done. You're like, oh, this guy. I know his accent's a little like their accents are a little different, but it's like they're talking the same way. They could have been brothers, or that could have been his dad.
I haven't seen as much Hannibal as you, so
He's the villain in Casino Royale.
Listen, I don't think I've seen that movie since I saw it with you in the theater in 2005.
You're remembering something else. I've never seen that movie in the theater.
What?
That's not me.
I thought you were there. But I know I was there with Chris and that guy Garrett and probably some other people. I thought one of them was you.
I'm sorry.
That's
No,
all right.
I wish.
Chris was a big James Bond fan, so we went and checked it out.
That's a good one.
And then Quantum of Solace, came out in a theater, and I never heard about it.
Yeah, it's not very good.
It just, came and went.
It's okay.
And the only reason I knew there was a sequel was that they made a game of it, as they always do, and it was, at the GameStop. And I went, what?
Yeah.
And then I went, and it was out of the theaters.
Yeah, the movie. Yeah, my God. The problem that movie had. The problem that movie had was it was made during the writer's strike, so they couldn't go back and do any reshoots.
Oh, they couldn't make a real movie. I got you.
Yes.
Whoops.
But what we really need to be talking about is Jack Nicholson's lemon turtleneck. How incredible!
Jack Nicholson playing Barbra Streisand.
Tad Pringle.
Yeah,
don't forget it.
Of the Connecticut Pringle family.
Yes.
When this movie was made, they only had original flavor. They had not yet realized that sour cream and onion was going to be the big hit.
Wow, it really is, isn't it?
That's the one.
First time I've heard that.
Now, listen, I know 2000 will be coming along and give them the pizza-licious flavor, but all is said and done, sour cream and onion is where the Pringle Empire comes from. Yeah, Jack Nicholson, hippie square guy. He somehow is both things. It feels a little contradictory.
Let me just dive into this really quick, because this is the meat of what we got for Jack this week. According to the 1974 biography Barbra Streisand, The First Decade, this was originally envisioned as a 3-hour roadshow extravaganza, included many sequences of Daisy's other lives, photos of which were printed in some press release promotions. But director Vincent Minnelli and the studio felt it would be too long, especially since musicals had already begun to fail at the box office. In addition to all but the briefest of Jack Nicholson scenes being cut, a musical number sung by him and Streisand, Who Is There Among Us, Who Knows, was also cut, as well as Wait Till We're 65, a duet between Larry Blyden and Barbra Streisand. Producer Howard W. Koch?
Probably Coke.
Okay.
Like the Koch brothers. That's a name.
It's Koch.
Yeah, Coke.
Conducted a search for the deleted footage in 1994, particularly Nicholson's song, which he wanted to showcase during the AFI tribute to the actor. Nothing turned up at Paramount. Koch asked Streisand and Minnelli's widow, and I want to research this, isn't that just Liza?
I have no idea.
Okay, I'm sure there's many widows, or not,
wow.
Many wives.
He married 6
you know
times.
What I meant. I misspoke. If they had remnants of the cut footage, but neither did, Koch determined that if the film still exists, it probably is in a mislabeled canister. But Jack was picked for this movie because the director wanted a counterculture character, and he was still filming Easy Rider. It was in the editing process or something.
Yeah. And
he's like, I'm only getting Jack Nicholson for this role. And Jack Nicholson's like, I'll just take the money, I need some money right now. And Jack had a horrible time on the set. He was just kind of bored. And then his stuff got cut. Because he's in the movie for 4 minutes.
Yeah, no, but that implies they probably had him in for a day or two. How's he getting bored? And maybe he's used to the Roger Corman, we gotta go. And this film's a real film. So yep, we're gonna film 2 pages today, everybody.
Do you think they had the whole roadshow thing ready to go, and they just started cutting things out when the movie was in the editing process?
I mean, it sounds like
this
movie was indeed. We had a tough time, listeners, figuring out how long the movie was, because Google really wanted it to be 2 hours and 49 minutes, and no copy we found was that long. So it seemed odd to me.
That feels like the roadshow.
Maybe there is a 2 hour and 49 minute video somewhere out there. Where we got a singing Jack Nicholson that I desperately need to see.
Yeah, that'd be incredible. Yeah, Nicholson just took the role because he wanted money, and in his desire to act in something more mainstream than what he was doing right now. Yeah, what'd you think?
I think it was fine. It was a tough movie to I don't know what we're doing or where we're going.
Yeah.
It felt weird coming back to a more mainstream film after the last 6, 7, 20 low budget films we just did.
Yeah, all the Cormans, the Monty
Yeah,
Elements,
and now we're in this real movie, and I go, what a weird tone we have here. This was just in the middle of Julia Roberts stuff. I'm like, yeah, okay, I buy this.
And
But I'm just like, Jack Nicholson's here and he's like a well-adjusted dude, and yeah, I don't know. But Barbra Streisand sort of annoyed me for the first 10 minutes, and I go, ugh.
Shut the fuck up.
But then, a little charm and charisma kind of wore me down. I liked her, like, yelling at everybody. All
charm, all charisma.
Yeah, she looks like this naive, like, dumb lady, but don't cross her because she'll fuck you up. And I go, all right, I'm in. Let's go. But then I'm in a weird spot where the movie's ostensibly setting up, like, 3 love stories. I'm like, all right, do I want her with, like, the asshole yuppie or the aggressively old dude or her stepbrother? Like, what is the... I'm not really rooting for any of these romances. I want you to go to not domestic science school, Barbra Streisand, and go be career lady.
Okay, so just to put a little perspective on her career at the time, this is 2 years after Funny Girl, and this is a year after she wins the Oscar for Best Actress.
Big deal film then. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this is like kind of her like next thing.
Yeah, we're gonna bring in a counterculture guy and have him be like the nicest, blandest character ever. Just get anybody then. Like, what was your goal? Maybe in like cutout scenes, he's like smoking and riding a bike, but
he's literally just standing like
he's got like a sitar and a weird shirt, and you're like, okay, guy who likes the Beatles.
It's like literally, he just came off the Monkey set. Yeah. He's just that head, and he's just like, hey, do you mind if I bring this cool shirt I found from the set? I think one of the monkeys.
Peter Tork.
Think of a monkey. Peter Tork. That looks like a Tork shirt.
It does.
Yeah, Jack has nothing to do with in this film at all. He's just there to be like a person that Barbara talks to for like it's not even for that. It's just like, okay, she's going to ditch both these guys and then get with the guy the movie wants us to like. And I go, well, I mean, I guess we have to like him because he's the only one that's nice to her, but they never really interact ever. And the movie's just presuming they're getting together at the end. Maybe that's another scene that's cut. Or maybe step incest was a step too far for the Hays Code. It's they like tried to like play it off. They're like, well, we're not... was it like what's the joke line? Like, we're not married. We're related by marriage. Not by marriage. Yeah. And they're like, well, how else? Because of how often the movie wanted to remind me that they weren't really siblings, I'm like, are you trying to set them up, you weird, creepy movie? Yeah, it's so strange. Yeah, that was a tough one. It takes a while to become a musical. Oh my god. And the first couple songs that happen outside of the opening are just being sung over the images. Like, no one's actually singing them. Yeah. And I'm sad these duets left, because that's what I was thinking. The most recent musical I saw was that Pretty Woman musical. And I'm like, you've got a whole chorus coming in and everybody's got big dance numbers happening. Like, it's a whole spectacle. Yeah. Or even just Hair that came out around the same time. Bunch of people singing, bunch of people dancing. Twyla Tharp's doing her weird thing. Mm-hmm. And this movie's just like a person singing and walking around the room. I wish you had the duets. Like, it would have felt a little more like a musical, at least. And these songs, I wish we had Andrew back this week. Because musically, I don't want to put in the words, but they're not very catchy songs. Like, musicals are almost like mind-numbingly sticking in your head, which I imagine is part of their function. This song was just like a regular song somebody sang, and then it was over. I agree with all this. I like the movie, and all these criticisms are very fair. Barbra Streisand looks great in all those outfits. Those are great outfits. I'm definitely into her wardrobe. It's incredible. Every scene, she just pops in with a brand new outfit. I'm like, you just had a ball, didn't you? Yeah, she's looking very, very, very Mary Tyler Moore in this movie, and good for her. Good outfits here. Yeah, like, even though her acting style, I would say, was very outdated and theatrical, it's still, like, it's not disrupting her charm. The fact that it's a musical probably helps, but, like, I'm still buying into it just because I'm eventually liking her, so... So when I was watching this, I had a thought, and I don't know if it's been brought up before in other... Lady Gaga... I'm familiar with her. Lady Gaga, Barbra Streisand. The trajectory, like how they just started making movies. Has Lady Gaga made that many movies? She's started to make more movies. What movies is she in? She was in A Star Is Born, just like Barbara. Yeah, I remember that one. So what else did she do? House of Gucci. Oh, that's right.
Crazy that I forgot that so quickly.
Yeah, that was last year.
Yeah. It was not a good movie.
She was campaigned for Best Actress. She's also got the new Joker movie coming out, which it'll be a musical where I'm sure it'll be put on the Prestige picture circle. Yeah, look at your face.
Why is it a music? That's so weird. We're going to do The Godfather 4. It's a musical, though. So buckle up, everybody. Oh, it's weird. Nobody else was singing before. No, we're all going to be singing now. It's going to be fine. Totally normal.
Yeah.
Asshole.
I have very little hope for that to be anything at all. I'm just wondering, because, like, they kind of have the same thing going on, like, very big theater kid energy. I mean, I know which one I like more, but...
A problem I have is that I confuse... What the fuck's her name? You just said it? Lady Gaga with...
Lady Gaga, yeah.
Margot Robbie. And I just, I'm like, okay, well, one of them sings. Which one is the singing one? That's the one that wasn't in I, Tonya. The singing one was not in that movie.
This is going to be funny, because there's like 7 actresses that look just like Margot Robbie now.
Oh, yeah? That's the new It look? We can all thank Martin Scorsese for that one, I guess.
I guess so. But no, there's I mean, there's like side by side.
Really?
All, like, yeah.
Are these names I would have heard of? Or do I just think Margot Robbie's in more movies than she's really in?
Well, the thing is, Greta Gerwig's kind of playing with this next year because she has like 3 of these actresses in the Barbie movie.
Genius.
It is.
Genius.
She's like, yeah, I know what I'm doing.
Oh, Greta Gerwig, you are a delight.
But yeah, I don't know. What do you mean?
What do I mean, what?
What were we talking about?
I was just talking about how I confused them.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Margot Robbie and Lady Gaga is my Matt Damon, Leonardo DiCaprio, other blonde guy problem.
Oh, God, The Departed. How did you make it through
God,
it?
what a hard movie that was to follow.
Looks like we won't be watching that.
Yeah.
Nah, we're watching it. I can't wait.
Yeah, so Lady Gaga singing Margot Robbie is how I think of her.
Okay. Yeah, I can see a little bit of resemblance.
Or like Anya Taylor-Joy, ice-based Margot Robbie.
Okay.
Maybe there are just too many blonde women in Hollywood. Maybe that's the problem.
Well, the one thing that's going for you this fall is Anya Taylor-Joy's got a movie coming out where she's a brunette. Watch her. You won't get her confused.
She's got a movie coming out this fall? She's got a movie coming out in like a week. She's got another movie coming out?
Oh, which one are you thinking about?
Oh, wait. I guess it is the fall. We are currently the fall.
Yeah, we're in the fall now.
I'm talking about the movie with like 100 people in it.
What is that?
I think it's got Margot. No, doesn't. That's the Babylon movie I'm thinking of. It's got like Christian Bale and Mr. Robot and Mike Myers for some reason.
Oh yeah, she is in that for like 5 seconds. Yeah, in the trailer. Amsterdam, the David O. Russell movie.
Yeah, with every David O. Russell actor in it.
I don't know if that's gonna be any good though. The movie that I'm talking about, it's called The Menu. It's with Ralph Fiennes. Looks great.
Oh, Andrew was talking to me about this, and I go, I've never heard of this movie. And he goes, how? This trailer's everywhere. And I go, I try to skip the trailers.
Very well on the festival circuit this early fall, late summer thing.
Okay. Well, I know nothing about it. Ralph Fiennes is in it, and I guess Anya Taylor-Joy. And there you go.
I'll give you my review. A pleasant surprise from out of nowhere. I've recently started watching some Streisand and have been having a great time discovering these treasures. Another treasure is definitely seeing Jack Nicholson play Tad Pringle, adorned in a bright lemon-colored turtleneck sweater. Wardrobe department brought their A-game in this one.
Yeah, wardrobe did great. We got some funky hippie clothes in here. Well, she's in like a weird Art Deco kind of thing, but I'm into it.
What do you think of her like crazy red outfit when she's on trial? And it's like, did you notice like her hat has like this
baby
long like
this red
it's like a tail coming out of her hat.
Train that goes all the way down? I'm into it. Or like any weird Renaissance era dress she's got on. Sign me up. Oh yeah, we haven't seen wardrobes this good since early Julia Roberts movies.
Oh yeah.
I think it was Satisfaction. I don't remember. I don't think it wasn't that one. It was the one that it was the Mystic Pizza. She got like this big bow tie on her dress. I'm like, yeah, let's go.
Yeah, she has this crazy headdress that's like got all these diamonds and little tassels like hanging over her forehead.
She's like, yes, I'm wealthy. I've climbed up from nothing.
Isn't she supposed to be like a student though? That's like she's like attending his class, right?
Well, she breaks into his class. She's not a student of that college.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
She's a student of the domestic studies school. No, but she's like 22. Is she really 22 when this movie comes out?
Oh, she would have been a little older than that.
Yeah, she can't. She's got to be like 28.
She was born in 42, I believe.
Yeah, 28. Boom, nailed it. Way to go. Well, I said in the 70s we'd return. The movie fails the Bechdel test. Despite starring a woman, there are really no other women for her to talk to except her mother in the past. And they're just talking about some hot guy. It's interesting that she was surprised that the professor guy had all these, that was in love with the other, the Superman problem, where Lois Lane likes Superman, but not Clark Kent. So this professor guy likes her past life her, but not herself. And she's really upset and annoyed by this. And I go, wouldn't your ESP have caught this? All right, isn't that like the whole, you can tell when he's going to call you and when he's thinking about you, but you can't tell when he's thinking bad things about you? I guess because it was also her. Bob Newhart shows up in this film.
Yeah, what'd you think of that?
Well, wasn't well utilized, but I don't think his show came out yet. A little bit at the beginning, he's talking like the Bob Newhart character usually does, and I go, but then like it goes away quickly, and they don't utilize it for any jokes. He's just like straight, boring college president guy.
Bob Newhart, still working.
Yeah, it doesn't have the energy of Dick Van Dyke, but let me tell you, if they made a movie where Dick Van Dyke and Bob Newhart go on a road trip, I would be there at the very first showing. You couldn't keep me away. I don't think they would do a Thursday night preview because it's not that crowd.
They couldn't keep you away. Why do you want to see this so bad?
That would be an awesome movie. 90-year-old Bob Newhart and 93-year-old Dick Van Dyke having to go on a wacky road trip.
They're both way older than
Dick Van Dyke's 93.
Van Dyke is like 97.
No. We just looked this up a couple years ago.
No, and then Newhart is born in 29, so he is... Do the math. You're better at math than I am.
95.
And then Dick Van Dyke, I believe, was...
I think he's 93.
He's an old man.
93 is old, Joe.
He is 96. He is born on my son's birthday, and so he will be 97 this year.
Wow, okay. You were right. 97. Holy crap.
97. Had military service in the World War II.
Great movie you'd have a hard time insuring. But I'd watch it.
It's a road trip movie with two 90-year-old guys.
Yeah, like we never make movies for old. Like remember when that James Gandolfini, Julia Louis-Dreyfus movie came out, Enough Said, and they were like, finally they're making movies for old people. What happened to that
They
trend?
were in their 40s. They're not old.
Make me Dick Van Newhart movie. Let's go.
Dick Van Newhart. I like the title.
Yeah. Come on, Hollywood. Oh, Netflix, you'll buy anything. You bought that Monsters movie. Just do it. Cowards.
The whole thing with her, Barbra Streisand, she goes to this class, and then she meets up the guy at his house. Is that his house, or is that his, like...
Usually it's his office, but one time she goes to his house that he's not really living in. It's not really his house, it's like somebody else's house.
Very, very, very high-class office. It's very big.
It was the 70s, Joe.
Be nice.
There's just more space.
But she's like, I need to quit smoking. She says she smokes 5 packs a day.
Yeah, that's not healthy.
That's a lot of... I don't think she would look like that if she smoked 5 packs a day. Since she was 12, and she says she's 22. So for 10 years, she's smoking that,
what a great singing
much.
voice she has for a smoker.
I know. Maybe they could have gone with something else. That's all I'm saying.
I wonder...
She's puffing away at the beginning, though. I'm like, wow,
this feels like a weird musical to see on the stage. It was weird to see on a screen, but it worked well. I don't know how you do it on a stage. I wouldn't There's a reason why I probably haven't heard of this musical ever.
Yeah, it's Vincent Minnelli. Have you seen any other Minnellis before? Because I haven't. I
never heard of this guy.
Really?
Yeah.
I thought you would have heard of him. So I'll go through a couple of his movies because, like, at least his top. An American in Paris.
Oh, okay. I've seen that one.
Oh.
I just didn't know. I didn't know he was the guy.
American in Paris is 1951. 1944, Meet Me in St. Louis. He did Gigi in 1958. The Bad and the Beautiful in 1952. Bandwagon, 1953. I mean, he's working with, like, big stars. Frank Sinatra, Shirley MacLaine, Gene Kelly, Judy Garland. Big, big stars. I haven't seen any of these movies except for this one. This is a funny first movie to watch of his.
Yeah, I was surprised when he started singing, because Barbra Streisand, as far as I could tell, the only notable singer in this movie. I thought it would just all be around her. And I'm like, I wonder when she goes and listens back to the tapes, do you hear him singing? And you're like, why is he singing a song?
Do you think that I meant that Vincent Minnelli is in this movie? He is the director.
Oh, I see.
That guy's name, I am going to try to pronounce this. So his character's name is Dr. Mark Chabot.
Chabot.
His Chabot.
Because he's French.
Yeah, he's French. Yves Montand? It's Yves.
Yeah.
Yves Montand.
Right? Wasn't that a movie that came? Yves Saint Laurent? Remember that one?
He's been in The Wages of Fear, Z.
Z? Well, that was a big deal movie.
Yeah. Grand Prix. State of Siege. Marilyn Monroe movie called Let's Make Love. Yeah, I've never seen this guy before.
Yeah, me neither.
Did you notice Richard Kiel in this?
Nope.
Do you know who that? Because we've seen him before in our series.
Oh, where? Where have we seen him?
He's Happy Gilmore's boss who gets the nail stuck in his head.
Yeah, I did not recognize him 25 years younger. I'm sorry.
It's crazy because he's a big dude. I'm surprised I didn't see him either. He's a big man. He was Jaws in The Spy Who Loved Me, the James Bond movie.
Not Jaws in the movie Jaws.
No, not Jaws, the movie Jaws.
Okay.
Did you see Jeannie Berlin in this?
No, I don't know who that is either.
It's the daughter of Elaine May.
The note you brought was interesting earlier of the musical starting to fail. Like, we are going into an epoch-shaping era in Hollywood for at least the next 5 years before Jaws, the actual Jaws, comes out. Not Adam Sandler's boss.
Yeah, the funny thing is, he plays Jaws in 1977. So it's 2 years after there's a really famous shark movie that changes
I think that's
Hollywood.
where they got the idea from. They're like, what a great name.
Well, I mean, there's James Bond books. I don't know.
Yeah, okay. So I'm not surprised these movies started kind of failing. Like, they were big for decades. And then they're like, we don't want the glossy blah, blah. We want the real grit. Give me the Easy Rider.
Yeah.
And like even just Psych Out and Head, movies that were showing young kids with long hair, which nobody wanted to show or talk about prior, were somewhat realistic, even if they were exploitative or absurdist like in Head. So yeah, everything is changing. So I get the appeal of, I guess we're going a little bit into last looks, but I get the appeal of Jack Nicholson wanting to do something mainstream to resuscitate his acting career. If it's not the only mainstream credit he has, it's one of the few. But it was like a terrible time to get mainstream because that's not what they wanted. So thank God Jack had to toil in these counterculture films for so long because that was eventually what America wanted to see for a bit.
Yes.
So good for him.
Glad Jack took this because I feel like Barbra Streisand had probably a big following because $8 million budget made $14 million.
Yeah.
So made some money.
Big movie. Made some good 1970 bucks.
Yeah, and like people want to go see Barbra Streisand, and then they're like, "Oh, who's this handsome fella in the yellow turtleneck?
Yeah, who's this guy?" And they're like, "What guy?" And they go, "Yeah, you know what? I don't remember. He wasn't really in it that much."
Yeah, he made a little impression on me. I'm gonna check out his next movie. What's his next movie? Yeah, why not take this to get a nice little fat paycheck for doing the bare minimum,
for doing legitimately
for showing
nothing.
up to work.
Yeah, for knowing my lines. All right, Joe, you ready for some Watergate watch?
Watergate, Watergate, oh, Watergate.
Watch.
Oh, yeah, give it to me.
All right, this week I did She Hate Me.
Okay, go on.
Why did I do this movie? Audiences at home that know what movie I'm talking about and have seen it for my Watergate watch. Well, because at the very beginning of all this, I found a Wikipedia thing that, well, like, here's the list of all the Watergate movies. And I've pretty much done all of them. They added one since I started, but She Hate Me was the last one on the list by Spike Lee. And to put it on a list of Watergate movies feels a little disingenuous. Watergate stuff comes up, yes, for maybe like
briefly, right?
8 minutes of the movie. A pretty wild dream sequence at the end, which brings up a lot of good points about how all those people involved in the Watergate went on to have very successful careers afterwards, despite being convicted criminals. And that the Frank Wills, the guard that sort of set the whole thing in motion, got nothing except apparently found his cat again at the end of Gaslit.
I can't believe you just pulled that.
And apparently that's part of this big climactic court speech at the end. I don't think it fully tied together. So like those things were interesting, but overall I would not call it a Watergate film. And I spent a lot of time being like, is this an allegory for what? It's just not. It just references it twice and that's it.
You know, I'm going to actually ask you for a plot synopsis on this one. What was this She Hate Me movie about?
First of all, I did not get what I was expecting. So it starts off as like this Enron takedown, and you'd expect that from the opening credits. And at the time, the movie came out in 2004, so the Enron fallout had just happened. And so this guy's friend at the company kills himself, and he realizes he did it because the company was like insider trading, and the drug it was releasing wasn't safe to do yet, and wasn't going to help cure AIDS. So he then becomes a whistleblower, and then the company makes it seem like he's the one who did it. And so the SEC freezes all of his assets, and he's like, what am I going to do for money now? Well, his ex-fiancée that became a lesbian is like, I need to have children. And so she and her lover pay him to impregnate her, and then she pimps out his semen to a bunch of other successful lesbian working girls so that he can survive while he tries to do this SEC trial. And a lot of the movie's about that, and not the SEC trial, which was the stuff I wanted to do. So that's what happens in the movie. It's like 6 movies in it. It abruptly changes what the movie's doing every now and then. John Turturro shows up as a mob man for a bit. So you get a little bit of a mob movie. You get this domestic drama. You get this business thriller thing. I sort of like the movie's very like counterculture and like, you don't need these traditional values. Let lesbians be lesbians. But then at the end, they're like, dude, if you donate your sperm, you got to be a good dad. And I was like, what? How did we get here? It wanted to keep that norm so strongly that the happy ending was like, okay, you're just going to be in a throuple with the lesbian lovers. Like, you're all going to love each other.
Throuple, wow. Twice in 1 week I've heard that word. That's crazy.
I learned it from the now canceled show Single Parents, starring Brad Garrett and that guy from SNL. I don't remember his name.
Oh, they say it in Bros right at the beginning of the movie.
So, odd movie, a lot of CGI sperm floating around in there.
Yep.
I kind of liked it.
This is not a short movie, by the way.
Nope, that
pretty
was
long.
The other that I'm like, well, of course your movie's long. I've got 6 movies in here. You gotta be long. Spike Lee, good director as always. The script I'd take another look at.
This is his follow-up to the 25th Hour. No, it is. I just looked it up. It's the follow-up to 25th
Yeah, right. That tracks then. The script's pretty close, but there's a couple of things you could change. But his directing is very good.
Yeah. I always like his directing.
I know. It's where we don't talk. I know every time I bring up a Spike Lee movie, I'm always like, why don't we talk about him more in the director pantheon in America? Like, of American directors.
He's great.
And yet movie after movie comes out and it still doesn't happen. So I don't know what to do.
I'm going through his stuff. I'm slowly going through all this stuff.
But all right, you want a rock watch?
I was a rock watcher.
Give it. Send it.
Well, I'm actually sending you this Chris Pratt watch, but while I look up the article that I had.
Oh God. It's a me. Oh, are we doing a?
No, you can get that later. Although I got like 8 people yesterday telling me like, "Hey, you've got to record yourself listening to the Mario trailer when it comes out Thursday," and I said, "No, thank you."
Did you know that? Let me hold on. So, I think it's Seth Rogen is playing Donkey Kong. We just brought her up. Anya Taylor-Joy is playing Princess Peach.
This is why are you spending money on people for this movie?
Do you know who's playing Bowser?
Yeah, Jack Black, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, what lazy casting. All around, lazy.
I'm gonna enjoy, if I do see this movie, I will enjoy when Donkey Kong laughs, though. I always love when Seth Rogen laughs.
Okay.
Do you know what his laugh is?
Nope.
It's a very, like, pronounced laugh, and it's very him. He has a one-of-a-kind laugh.
Yeah, I don't care. I don't want to see this.
Oh, okay.
Okay. I'm really just gonna go through this real quick. Dwayne Johnson's this is from Giant Freaking Robot, which doesn't sound very reliable, but whatever.
Freaking robot.
Joshua Jones. It was published a couple weeks ago. We couldn't get to it last week because because we were very busy on Easy Rider. Dwayne Johnson's Black Adam headed for box office disaster.
Yeah.
Early tracking suggests Dwayne Johnson's Black Adam won't come close to the numbers enjoyed by this year's Marvel blockbusters. Which I'd say, that's a little unfair, right?
Yeah, and it's crazy because that Thor movie was dog shit, and it still somehow made like $700 million. And I'm like, how? It looks like it was slapped together.
Fine, but like it's just
That's
like
the most recent one.
It's like newsflash: DC movie makes less than Marvel film, and I go, yeah, okay. So, is anyone surprised?
There was a DC movie that made some money recently, right? Well, the Wonder Woman movies make money. The first one did.
The first one that was in a theater.
Yeah. Well, the second one was in a theater too. I saw it. It came out Christmas 2020.
It was a great time. Yeah.
It was a pretty bad time, actually.
So, anyway, the early tracking models show that the movie is expected to open between $55 and $70 million and will have a domestic gross total of only about $135 to $175 million. The article then stupidly says, these numbers aren't terrible. Well, they are when you spent $200 million on it, but they paint a bad picture for the folks at Warner Brothers Discovery, which is a dumb name. Now, but the numbers are comparable to the early tracking on Hobbs and Shaw. That movie did okay, didn't it?
Wasn't a good movie, though, so it will have no legs, that's what they're trying to say. Like, just trying to get people in on just the Rock name.
The Black Adam movie is set to make less than half or 2/3 of the other Marvel movies' opening weekends. And it will have to make 3 times this projected number to surpass or match Marvel's 2 big 2022 theatrical outings.
Hobbs and Shaw made $760 million worldwide.
Yeah, so I don't know. One thing that Dwayne Johnson may have up his sleeve is the appearance of Henry Cavill as Superman. But we don't know if that's true or not. However, there's a caveat. We
Rumors.
reported the folks at Warner Brothers were not too thrilled with Cavill and decided to use a body double. What? What the fuck is this? There's a post-credit scene that involves somebody from the Suicide Squad warning Superman about Black Adam. But Superman's like, this is just like the scene at the end of DC League of Super Pets. We're gonna see like the back half of a guy.
This is so lame. I don't care about any of this.
Well, you know what will cheer you up?
This is awful.
There's a Sandler watch, too.
Sandler watch.
Ah, that's what I want to hear about. Give me it.
This is on that same website, Giant Freaking Robot. This one's by Chad Langen. Wow, that is a white name. Chad Langen. Adam Sandler wants a sequel to his best comedy.
Uh-oh.
Adam Sandler sang on Variety's Awards Circuit podcast promoting his sports flick Hustle.
What does he think his best comedy is?
Yeah, so he's got buzz around him. They're like, hey, what movie would you want to do next? And he goes, well, I really want to do a sequel to The Waterboy.
Okay.
You know, he just sort of floated this out. He's not sure if he would, but he'd love to do it, and he'd love to bring everybody back. He and Henry Winkler, I guess, are good buds.
Yeah, well, we got to bring Peter Dante back. When was the last time he was in a movie?
And they were like, Vicky Valancourt, and he's like, hell yeah. And they go, your mom? And he go, well, you can't do it without mama.
I'm sure Kathy Bates would be down.
Like, yeah, it goes on and on to talk about what Waterboy's about, but we already know that. It's a good movie, so maybe someday we'll get a Waterboy too, where he's like Waterman, and then he has to foster a Waterboy.
Maybe.
Yeah.
That's something. I hope he just keeps doing like new things. Although we are getting a sequel to Murder Mystery soon.
Murder Mystery 2.
Wonder if that's the title. Probably.
Yeah, there might be a little colon in there.
Watch your back.
All right, Joe, last looks, even though we've kind of done it a little bit already.
Good job, Jack, collecting a paycheck.
Yeah.
See you next week in Rebel Rousers.
Yeah, I pretty much said my piece too. Why did he do it? We already talked about it. You know, it ended up it would have not panned out for him, but good thing he did all of his other work already, and then of course Easy Rider's gonna explode. So good for
he's
him.
like 4 years away from winning an Oscar.
Yeah. I imagine Rebel Rousers was sort of made while Easy Rider's being edited too, so we're still in the era of movies he's doing not knowing Easy Rider's gonna explode.
Huh. That's a good point.
Yeah.
I mean, when these movies come out, it has exploded.
Yeah, but you know, he made them long ago, so like we shouldn't be like, okay, so you made Easy Rider and then you did this Barbara Streisand thing you're barely in? No. He already was in it. He didn't know.
Yes.
Was not aware. But it's going to be coming up. We'll get to see his post
Browsers
Easy
with
Rider
him.
choices.
That's all. Bye.
I'd like to thank you.
How do you finish one of these things?
I'd like to thank Lev Van Rensselaer for minding those audio boards, keeping the sound so slippery smooth. I'd like to thank our sponsor, Peter Pipeser. A curious name, but if it works, it works. I'd like to thank Joe Vekeman for stopping by.
Thanks.
And I am your host, Patrick Skeyhill. You can find my features, documentaries, short films, video essays, animations, behind-the-scenes footage, and so much more at QuixoticUnited.com and social media, presumably with a similar sounding name. Thank you all for listening. Joe, say goodnight.
Good night.
Oh, that clearly, oh, that clearly, you can see forever, ever, and ever, and evermore.
Thinking back to our Hocus Pocus 2 conversation from the weekend. You know, I feel your pain, because you know what I saw? I saw the Munsters movie on Netflix.
Oh, why would you do that? No. Oh, no. You did it. You didn't do it, did you?
Well, I did. You know, because I'm putting on Netflix, I'm like, I need a movie to watch. What's going on here? And then it says, like, hey, there's a Munsters movie. And I go, wow, all right, we'll see how this goes. It was terrible. But let me tell you, the most surprising thing about it was that at the end, all of a sudden, it says, directed by one Robert Zombie.
Robert Zombie.
I say, well, he made this movie? It's too set in the 60s. It is like, what if we did this movie in the style that is 65 years out of date?
It's almost 70.
I don't even, 1966 was when the show ended? Yeah, 60.
Oh, yeah.
66 years. They're like, we have this goofy, kind of stupid, children, family-friendly Munsters prequel. Who should we get to direct it? Oh, the guy from House of a Thousand Corpses. What? All right, yeah, let's call that guy up. He'll cast his wife in it. It'll be fine.
Of course, that's what he does all the time.
Yeah, like
He does
every
that for every
person
movie.
in this movie was in one of his other horror movies.
Yeah.
And, you know what? They all did okay. I would not have guessed. Bad movie.
Why? I've asked you to watch so many other movies and you watch that one?
The Munsters. I gotta watch the Munsters. Despite everybody like growing up was like Addams Family. And you know why? Because they had those movies in the 90s that are just fine. But
Excuse me, just fine. They are A-okay.
I was always Team Munster. Addams Family show, boring. Munster show, good.
You were a fan.
I'm pro Munsters. I'm anti Addams Family. So I'll watch a Munsters movie when it comes on. But yeah, you were just like, hey, nothing really happened. And I was like, yeah, you know what? Nothing's happening in this movie either. Problem will come up. And then there was one moment where Herman sells the castle that the grandpa and his wife are living in accidentally.
Yeah.
And do you think, and grandpa finds out, and you think it's going to be this whole big thing, and like his wife's going to like leave him for a bit, and he's going to have to win them back, somehow getting that house in LA that they live in the show. And then it's just like, okay, well, now we got to go find a new house. And I go, what, we're done? Like, anytime a conflict looked like it's coming, the movie just kind of like walks around it and then keeps going. They had, it sounds like, more sets than your Hocus Pocus 2, but same problem where, like, nothing bad seemed to happen. And then the movie
I'm
ended.
looking at this. Yeah, I'm looking at this right now. The sole credited writer, Robert Zombie.
Robert Zombie.
he writes movies now.
He shouldn't have written this one.
I know he wrote all of his other movies, but yeah, fuck this. I'm just surprised. I know it's because you don't like to watch trailers for the movies beforehand, but this summer, this trailer was notorious for being like an absolute what the fuck.
Everybody was just like, Rob Zombie, why did you do this?
It's such a left turn from literally everything he's done in his entire career. And
I know. I'm like, oh, thank God this is kind of done, because this was kind of stupid. And then Robert Zombie's name pops up, and my mind just blew.
Jesus Christ. Is it really an hour and 50 minutes?
It is 2 hours. Like, stuff keeps
Holy
happening.
Shit.
But it's the lesson they teach the screenwriters is you gotta do but, therefore. Where this movie's more like, well, then this happened, and then this happened, and then this happened.
Great.
It just kind of kept going. And then the movie was over, and, you see them get the house and get the pet dragon thing, and then, he gets the job at the cemetery, blah, blah, blah. Apparently, the Blu-ray sales and the Netflix watches have already done so well, they're going to make a sequel.
Oh, Jesus
Which,
Christ.
maybe we'll explain how Marilyn shows up. But let me tell you something. The movie came out, I guess, last Tuesday.
Mm-hmm.
And when I was looking up this information, it was like 5 days later. And already the movie had done what? In 5 days? You telling me the Munsters Blu-ray sold gangbusters in 5 days, that the Wikipedia article could be updated that quickly? It just seems unlikely.
I feel like someone's
this is Netflix just lying now to its own creators. Oh, yeah, Robert. Yeah. Everybody loved this movie. Mm-hmm.
When did you say the Monsters started?
1964. They ended in 1966. I know you're thinking, only 2 seasons? Yeah, but 70 episodes.
Yeah, and I'm also looking at Rob call him Robert Zombie. Rob Zombie's birthday. 1965. Oh, he came born right in the middle of it.
Listen, I grew up watching the Munsters too. Having seen a lot of movies based on 60s sitcoms growing up, because there were quite a few in the 90s.
Yeah.
This was not the best way to do it. Didn't even feel like a movie. It felt like an aggressively long pilot.
Yeah.
And maybe in a 22-minute format, this could have been fine. 2 hours was really long. You had Hurley in it. He showed up.
One quick question, then we can move off this.
Yeah, that's fine.
So was the Munsters ever in color? It was in color for at least a few episodes.
Not
or something.
the TV show. Maybe the Easter special, the long forgotten Easter special, but it was mostly just the movies.
So this is keeping in the grand tradition of full color.
Yeah, well, apparently Robert was like, well, we're not going to be able to distribute a black and white movie. And I go, well, yeah, unless you're an art movie, probably not.
This is an art movie, right?
Yeah, you're not Roma, so probably you should be in color. But the problem with the color is it's like a really weird... The makeup and skin tones of the Munsters was always... It was weird seeing them in color.
Yeah. That's what was really off-putting to me.
Grandpa and Yvonne De Carlo were like really blue. And so like that was always kind of weird. So they said, all right. They didn't make them as blue, which was nice. But then they said, all right, well, since they're going to be a weird color, we're going to make everything a weird color. And I don't know what camera they used, but it was an ugly camera. It was like way too... This isn't like the lighting problem. It's the sensor makes the color way too fake. The colorist maybe went a little overboard, but like I get they were going for a neon pastel thing, and like those were fine. But whatever camera they used looked aggressively cheap. Is probably the way I should phrase it.
Aggressively cheap. I agree.
Yeah.
100%.
And so apparently somebody was like, it looks like the budget's $40 million. And Robert Zombie's like, no, it's not. And after watching the movie, I'm like, is he mad that he thought that was too low? Or does he know his movie looks crappy? And he's like, no, we didn't even have that much money. That's why it's not a great film. Yeah. Wasn't good.
I can't believe you watched that.
Not good. So, and I thought all through the movie, I'm just like, this is the Hocus Pocus thing. They're just going back to old property. And what? They're afraid to... Robert Zombie just kept talking about how much he liked the Munsters. So I'm just confused why he didn't want to make... This just didn't feel like a movie. It did not feel like a movie, and I don't get it. Go watch a Very Brady sequel, or the Leave It to Beaver movie, or My Favorite Marcia. All of them felt like movies. Even the old 90s Addams Family movies. They were movies. Go watch the old Munster movies.
They look incredible.
They were movies. Herman Has to Save Christmas in a movie.
Excuse me? What?
Yeah.
I know what I'm watching Christmas.
A Very Munster Christmas. which I own.
Oh, yeah.
Thanks, Dash gave it to me for Christmas one year.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, the cast did pretty good for, seeing Robert Zombie's wife.
Jesus fucking Christ. Stop calling him Robert Zombie.
Listen, that's his Christian name, Joe. Robert Zombie's wife, who I think would like eating people in one movie. She's a very good Lily Munster in this movie.
Oh, okay.
And the guy who played Grandpa does a pretty good Al Lewis impersonator. The Herman guy, half the time, doesn't do Herman Munster very well. But the things he does well, he gets pretty spot on with Fred Gwynn, so good for him. What was weird about the Munsters, Joe, growing up was that the person who played Marilyn was replaced partway through the series. And so it always confused me. Like when Bewitched had two dicks. No, that wasn't his name. Whatever her husband's name was. There were two of them.
The fuck
and it was weird.
Are you talking? This is what happens when I wake you up too early. When Bewitched had two dicks.
I think that was her husband's name, but I don't remember now. Because you're right, it is too early. Darren was his name.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Okay.
His name was Darren.
I love it. I love the energy we got going.
This is how you knew your show was made in the 60s. The first Marilyn leaves the show. What was her name? Pat Priest.
That
Great
sounds
actor
right.
name. Pat Priest. Leaves the show after 13 episodes, or like 20, some amount of episodes, very early, because she's like, well, guys, I can't do acting anymore. I gotta go get married. And they're like, wait, what?
Oh.
Yeah, I gotta go get married. It's just like Mona Lisa Smiles. I gotta go get married and then like do the wife thing.
Yeah, the Kirsten Dunst.
Probably
role.
still do. Yvonne DiCarlo's married. Like, she's still here. Nah, I'm gonna be a wife. I'm gonna put the food on the table by 5. Blah, blah, blah.
Ironing's gotta get done somehow.
Yeah. There you go. That was my complaint. I felt bad for you having to sit through Hocus Pocus.
The thing with Netflix, I don't know if Netflix does the same thing, but Disney, if you ever watched a movie on Disney, they set the runtime at like an hour 50, and you're like, that's a fucking long movie. But you get about an hour 20 minutes, you're like, this feels like it's wrapping up. And then there's like 2 more minutes, you're like, oh, 82 minutes. Oh, that's nice. And then there's like a half hour of just credits from every single country from the dub.
Yeah,
like,
I mean, those are there in Netflix,
yes.
but they all go through really quick. I don't even the real credits for the movie were like 40 seconds. And I was like, wow, I'm really trying too hard.
It's a
there,
full 2 hours. That's crazy.
Yeah, it's like actual. It just kept going.
Yeah, Hocus Pocus. It started out, I was like, maybe there's something to this. And then 30 seconds later, I'm like, no, this is hollow as something that's hollow.
Yeah, so we both got kind of bamboozled by Halloween-themed properties.
Yeah, I mean, I know where I'm going with my Halloween-themed property this year.
Where are you going?
I want to watch The Shining soon.
Joe, we're going to watch that for the podcast in like 82 weeks.
Yeah, we're not watching
Just
it until
save
like
it for then.
February or March, and I'm like, well, I can watch it for October then.
That'll be our Valentine's Day movie.
What if it drops on Valentine's? That'd be great. Did you just want to avoid talking about this movie that we saw this week, or
No,
what?
I
Or
want to do it. I want to talk about the monster. I'll always talk about the monsters.
Okay. I felt a little hesitation.
I complained.